In this first episode of Take Action Early, I'll be answering who the heck is Edward Imbanasaur, plus what's the purpose of the Take Action Early podcast. What's going on, people? I'm your host, Edward Imbanasaur. Welcome to Take Action Early, brought to you by Legacy Means Everything, a self-development and self-improvement platform for the young adult. It exists to empower young adults to overcome fear of failure and procrastination and boost self-confidence so that they can leave their mark on the world and live a meaningful life that even their haters will be proud of. If you like what you hear, be sure to leave a rating, your comments and subscribe. I'll tell you more about how to do this later on in the episode. Most of you listening won't know who I am. I'm not a celebrity. So let me give you a little background on myself before we move on to what's in store for Take Action Early. I received a wake-up slap in the face back in 2014 when I got sick and tired of ticking boxes for marks and grades just for the approval of my university lecturers. For a long time, I had believed that my self-worth was based purely on achieving A grades and achieving so-called perfection. Then after my second rejection for medical school, and after a long summer of depression, and after almost giving up on my quest to pursue medicine altogether, it all of a sudden hit me that my approach to life was actually all wrong. But I didn't get to this point by accident. There was a trigger to all of this when it hit me like a ton of bricks that I couldn't take my life for granted. When I was age 14, in the evening of the 7th of June 2008, an unlikely matchup happened. No, it wasn't Muhammad Ali versus Mike Tyson. It was man versus van. It was a hit and run collision. To cut the long story short, I was hit by a van while crossing the road, and upon impact I was immediately unconscious. According to the eyewitness statement, my unconscious body flew and hit the back of a bus. There was a loud bang which caught people's attention. I landed under the bus, and if a heroic passenger didn't alert the driver, you guys probably wouldn't be listening to this podcast. I somehow survived and woke up in hospital without any broken bones or brain damage, but I had some abrasions or superficial skin injuries, a bloodshot eye and a fractured skull, but nothing too serious, fortunately. I had some cognitive behavioral therapy for about a year and a half because of the flashbacks. I had these crazy dreams of being run over. Yeah, it was a huge shock to the system, both figuratively and psychologically, but I bounced back and today I'm in good health, thankfully. The key takeaway here is I was given a second chance at life, and in no way am I going to waste it. Since I've been given a second chance, I'm just going to pretend that I should be dead and invisible. So why should I let myself be fearful? There's no point, I'm dead. I wrote about the whole experience on the Legacy Means Everything website. I'll leave a link in the show notes. Now, this experience planted a seed in the soil of my mind. I realized I had a responsibility to make the most of my life. At 14, I didn't really understand the significance of what had happened. I was more concerned with playing video games, especially FIFA. I didn't know how the experience was going to direct my life's mission, but it did confirm my ambition to become a medical doctor, which I had since primary school. Anyway, the hit and run experience drove my perfectionist tendencies until I had enough of them after failing to get a place at medical school at my second attempt. I realized that the process was more important than chasing and allowing myself to have an emotional attachment to unguaranteed outcomes. The main thing I understood was that I only had one shot at life, which could end at any moment. It could end tomorrow, it could end next month, it could end next year, 5 years time, whatever. After this realization, in one of my private moments, I asked myself why I continue to worry about things, outcomes, why hold back. Goku didn't hold back when he first went Super Saiyan in what many argue to be the most iconic moment in anime history. I don't hold back when I'm stuffing cashew nuts down my throat, so why should I hold back with my goals? Why should failure determine my fate? I quickly realized that worrying and build-up of unnecessary and 90% of the time unfounded stress can only hold one back. While at university, after waking up, I began to seek out information in my search for answers. I was curious about how I could fill this void that I didn't know I had. I think I read a Tony Robbins quote somewhere. It had a way of thinking I hadn't been exposed to before. The concepts were definitely foreign to most people in an education system which expertly trains young minds to mindlessly regurgitate impractical information from memory without question, just to get a piece of paper which doesn't even guarantee the so-called careers naive students are told it would get them. After saying that sentence, my face is actually scrunched up. Anyway, immediately after that shift in my thinking, triggered by a failure to get into medical school, I committed myself to a process of self-improvement through hard work, effort, and persistence. I took all the feedback I could get from others. I never get offended when someone gives me feedback, even if it's over embarrassing things. Positive and negative feedback is all useful and should never be taken personally. You don't get your eyes gouged out or go under the guillotine when you receive criticism. So make sure you take advantage of it. After pushing the boundaries of my comfort zone and after much trial and error, eventually I received a place at medical school in March earlier this year. So the process did pay off. You can find Legacy Means Everything on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Just do a search for Legacy Means Everything. And you can also find LME on Twitter at Legacy Mode. You can contact me through the contact section at legacymeanseverything.com to submit your questions, suggestions, and comments, or whatever else you would like to share with me. I fulfilled my childhood dream of getting into medical school after 4 attempts in 4 yearly cycles. The whole journey to receiving the coveted acceptance letter is what I believe played a huge role in shaping me into the person I am so far. It really did build my character. I've chosen not to wait until 50 or until my hair goes grey or when my mortality stares me in the face again to share the lessons I've learned so far. Based on what happened to me when I was 14, there's no guarantee of me getting to 50, so I'm going to take this opportunity now to do my bit to give value to the world in my current capacity, which I know will be expanded as I get more life experience. As I mentioned earlier, I've been through depression before, and it's definitely a horrible feeling. But there are strategies I use to come out of it, and since then, I never allow myself to become too worried about things or anxious about things. I use tools to make sure I don't go back there. I maintain a pretty trim physique. Strength training and rope skipping are things I really enjoy. I do have quite a bit of theoretical and practical knowledge in fitness and exercise. Although I'm not a certified personal trainer yet, I should be certified by November, the latest hopefully. I'm currently working on the art of financial management and investing. I'm working on a few business projects. That's where I am at the moment. I still have a long way to go in terms of self-growth. I'm only 24 after all, although I do consider myself to be an old man. I created Legacy Means Everything back in August 2016 to document my thoughts on personal development. I wrote some articles that you will find on the website at legacymeanseverything.com. Although I very much enjoy writing, I felt it wasn't making the best use of my creative abilities. I wasn't really writing with any particular audience in mind, and posting quotes day after day, week after week on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter became extremely boring. So I took a break from writing for about 6 months to focus on my master's degree and preparation for my medical school interview. After 6 months of reflection, it occurred to me that I should just target people of my own age group, consisting of, obviously, young adults, trying to make sense of what they should do with their lives. From what I've seen in my short life, many young adults have sadly lost hope or just follow what society tells them to do with their promise of guaranteed fulfillment, which really isn't the case. So you can see that young adults are a suitable audience for me. Many young people are stuck with a fear of acting, procrastination, and low self-confidence. But if you can overcome these issues early on in life, then you set yourself up for really becoming successful in the long term. The key is the long term. You can compound more value for yourself and whoever and whatever you choose to serve for as long as you live. This is the whole point of Take Action Early. It's about working towards becoming the best version of yourself by developing the right mindset and choosing good habits to do repeatedly so it becomes part of who you are. Remember that time when you didn't take action on something and you missed out on a huge opportunity to significantly improve your situation and you kick yourself for it. Yeah, I've been there many times. Well, imagine you didn't take the actions you know you needed to take in your youth, and then suddenly the window of opportunity closes in your face. Then what will you be left with? Let me tell you, it's regret. You are listening to Take Action Early. You can find this episode and all future episodes of Take Action Early on YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes. I hope to release a new episode every Tuesday. Moving on. The way this podcast is going to work is that I'm going to express my thoughts on self-development and self-improvement principles and motivational principles and apply my life experience, opinions of others, and research wherever they fit in. The podcast will also help me to develop, and hopefully the ripple effect will help other young adults who are looking for answers. And I do hope to help out in that aspect. Overall, I'll break down what I've learned from my readings, my experiences so far, and work them into practical steps to help you with finding and committing to your purpose early. The truth is, if you don't have a self-determined purpose, your birthright will inevitably get hijacked by others who will knowingly or unknowingly use you as a pawn in their chess game. You must make the rules for your own life. I want to unpack my experiences and make sense of them to draw out my hard-earned lessons, to offer you some food for thought you may not have considered yet. How you treat your young adulthood stage pretty much determines the rest of your life. You can make changes later on in life, yeah, but that's much harder to do. It's like trying to snap a rod of already hardened steel, which is impossible unless you're superhuman. A young adult is like melted steel being welded. You must pay careful attention here because whatever is formed is pretty much permanent. Trying to make changes to an already finished product can have severe consequences, especially when it's already being used to support a house. The modern young adult has suffered from an epidemic of learned helplessness. We've been taught to be dependent on others for things to happen in our lives instead of looking inward. This is something I realized when I woke up. Society has taught us to be beneficiaries of progress instead of being its creators, as was intended by our very human nature. To be frank, this really isn't right. Modern people have been conditioned to rely on handouts instead of going out there and earning what we want. From what I've seen, this seems to be a mentality that has affected many young people today. And fortunately, there are some of us who want to wake up from this fantasy, and those are the people I seek to be in my audience. This space is all about action. As soon as you are aware of your needs and desires, you act to fulfill them. This is what gives you purpose. It's our individual responsibility to figure out ways to adapt and adjust and try again until we reach our goals. And take action early will help out with that. There are a few more things young adults today are affected by. Young adults are affected by self-esteem issues, ridiculous insecurities, and lack of direction in life. And one of the key things is direction. Modern society has given us too many choices, but not many worthwhile decisions are being made by young people. Just look at your current Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram feeds for proof of that. The only choices we should be making are the choices that are actually aligned with our qualifications we each naturally possess. And when I say qualifications, I mean natural abilities and talents that many of us don't even know we have because of the collective blindfolding of young adults. Instead of being encouraged to follow our natural paths, young adults are bombarded with propaganda which tells us otherwise. Here's what we are told to achieve that so-called dream life. Go get a degree, and you'll get a job because of your degree. And your life will be sorted and you have nothing to worry about. Ever. Yet, what can clearly be seen is that most people hate their jobs. They are actively disengaged, do the bare minimum at work, and are utterly demoralized. The majority of people in society today are unfulfilled. The reality doesn't really tally up with the dream, does it? I don't know about you, but I'm not going to base my choices on such a reality. I'm not going to talk about my private jet, my Mercedes-Benz CLS, my mansion, my multi-million pound income, because guess what? I don't have any of those things. I'm just a 24-year-old man who grew up in a deprived area in London who decided to take action early and will do whatever it takes, legally of course, to reach my goals. And I want to push you guys to do the same. So far, I'm pleased with my results and I'm striving for more. My question to you is, are you doing something to grow every day? What are you doing in your youth to reach your dreams, fulfill your ambitions and your goals? Are you just drifting along, dilly-dallying along, like 95% of the population? I'm not going to tell you that if you wake up at 5 a.m, you are guaranteed to become successful, although this does help. Context is key. Guess what? So many people who wake up at 5 a.m. to go to jobs they hate are stressed out of their minds. I'm not going to speculate on things that clearly don't work. There is no pill that exists that will magically give you 2% body fat. It's just not going to happen. Nope. I'm not a guru of any kind. I'm just a person who has been through some stuff, came out through the other side, and have a perspective that the frontal lobe of my brain has told me to put out there to see what sticks on the wall. And that wall represents my audience. I'm not here to glamorize my life. I'm content with what I've achieved in life so far. I'm here to give you my perspective on the steps I feel young adults can use to have direction in life, and how they can use these steps to follow a self-determined purpose in the midst of a society telling them they can't do it and shouldn't do it. I'm here to give young adults the encouragement to form their own path in the only life we have, and no one else has the right to dictate what we should be doing but ourselves. This podcast will also form part of my legacy. It's part of my own development and self-improvement to help me grow my self-confidence and ability to express myself. I have a great deal of awareness of my strengths and weaknesses, and this podcast is what I've found to be an ideal platform for tackling both. It will help me a great deal in my preparation for my future life's work, and hopefully yours too. I'm doing my part to take action early. and I'm here to tell you to do your part for yourself and for your own future. A range of topics will be discussed, and as the podcast progresses, I will get more experience experimenting with things and increase my knowledge in things I feel will be of benefit for the modern day young adult and for myself, hungry for freedom in a world of materialism, copy dogs. Yeah, I don't say copycats. I don't like to conform. And the procrastination epidemic, which I myself was a prisoner to until I woke up in 2014 after my second rejection from medical school. We aren't going to live forever, which many people seem to believe based on how they just let their lives wither away as if they are guaranteed to live 1,000 years twice over without showing any sign of age. The Take Action Early message is a simple one. Use your youth to push yourself to increase the number of choices or options you have in future, which will allow you to pursue the life that will satisfy you. Don't wait until you turn 40, 50 or 65 years old before you realize that you are not living or have not lived up to your full potential. It will probably be too late to make drastic changes at that time without severe consequences. This goes against the half-truth peddled by so many self-help experts who say it's never too late to live out your dreams, which has caused so many to delay their goals, and they refuse to take action because they feel that they have so much time when that isn't true. And this probably explains why a lot of people don't target young adults, because their philosophy is let them just be blind and then they'll figure out life for themselves. Yeah, that is kind of true. Yes, we should figure out things for ourselves, but if a lot of other people have already failed and been successful, aren't we supposed to learn from those kind of people? I've had a few successes, but it doesn't mean I should hide it when there are other people my age who also need support, which is why I created this podcast. What the self-help gurus, so-called gurus, don't tell you is that it is extremely rare for an older adult, especially without a good foundation built up over many years, to achieve great success without paying a high price, which can be avoided if you start working on yourself in your youth. It's obvious that when you are low on energy, have a much lower stress tolerance, and are more prone to health issues than a younger adult, you are much less likely to take big risks and make huge changes. This means that the time is now. Your youth and freedom is not going to last forever. The decisions you make now will follow you for better or worse. So in my opinion, it is extremely wise to get your act together and take responsibility now when you are young. That does it for this episode. Thank you for listening to this edition of Take Action Early. If you liked this episode, please leave a rating on iTunes and leave your comments and likes on YouTube and on SoundCloud. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to subscribe to my channel. You can drop me an email at edward@legacymeanseverything.com to let me know what you think. Leave your comments, questions, and suggestions. If you found value in this episode, feel free to bookmark and shop through the Amazon link at no cost to you. You will find it in the sidebar of the website, or you can consider making a donation to support the show financially. You can click the link in the show notes found at legacymeanseverything.com/1 for more information on how to do this. It will help me to grow and improve the LME platform, and you can also chip into my cashew nut addiction costs. That's all I've got for now, guys. Talk to you next week. Adios.